Hello and welcome to Harris Finch Crafts. I've been asked to do a video on the clear Bobo balloons, on how you can get from something like this to perhaps something like this. I'm not going to do a balloon one today, although I could add a couple of balloons in just to show you how it's done, but I'm going to actually do a rose one today, show you how to tie it so your balloon doesn't lose it's there and it lasts as long as it possibly can. So for this you're going to need a hand pump and also an electric pump. If you're wanting to do a box balloon, then obviously you're going to need your box, which I'm just in the middle of constructing and putting together. I'll just do that now. You can buy these off eBay. I found, actually, I think I ended up getting these off Amazon. I found a seller, there was 20 mixed colours for about £19, so I just thought, you know, I use a lot of colours, so let's just get them, and you know, I've got them in if I need them. You can also do sweet bouquets with them. So I'm just going to make that up. So pop them in there. That's all you need to do. Now if you want to secure that so it's a bit more secure inside, you can pop a bit of glue, but to be honest, I don't really bother. I don't bend these back too much. So there's your box that you'll need. I'm going to show you two ways of doing this balloon so that you've got a better idea. Now the other way is, when I can find where I've just popped it, I have my normal rose, and it's gone down on the floor here, excuse me. I've got this stand. I bought these stands again, they're just called balloon stands off Amazon. You can add lights into these, up the trunk in and then through and around the balloon. But I just want to try and keep this as simple as possible today, just so you don't get too confused, and I can always do another quick tutorial of how to add the balloon lights in. So I'm just going to show you how to do it on this, and then also which will end up like this, so you know how to make that one. That's without lights, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add lights into this one just to show you how you add the lights in. So I'm just going to pop that back up there for a moment. Also for this balloon, obviously you're going to need a rose. I've got some rose petals to add into the balloon. I've got some tutu tulle which I'm just going to add to the bottom, which was like the one which has got the balloons in. Just pop that over there for now. On that. Now on these roses, sometimes they come with like little spiky bits, so what I would normally do is just take a craft knife and literally take them off, just so you're not in a position where it could pierce your balloon. Obviously this is going to be too long for the balloon, so I'm going to take this down to about here. Now these roses are designed that you can actually just break them. They've got little notches in them that you can just keep bending, and if you look, they should just snap off cleanly. Now if you're frightened of this again catching your balloon, then what you can do just to secure it, if you wanted to, was just to literally get a little bit of tape, just pop it around the bottom just so it overlaps, pinch that bottom bit together, fold that over, and then you can just go back around that, just to stop that from being sharp and catching anything. It just makes life that little bit easier for you, so you're not fighting with the end of the stem. If you're like myself and you've got floristry tape, there's a tape you can buy which is called Stemtex. It's a green sticky tape, and you would just hold it and turn your rose, pull it round, and it will stick to it. You can use Stemtex on that as well, but again, that's entirely your own choice. Obviously you're going to need some of this as well if you're setting it in the box, just so it looks nice. This is just I'm not even sure what the material's called. It's not even a hessian, it's just like a thin cottony sheet. I'm not sure what that's called. I'll try and find that out for you. So again, I'm going to just set them aside, set this aside till I need it. I'm just going to pop that out of the way. Again, obviously make sure if you've used your knife, discard it, get rid of it, because you don't want to catch your balloon on that. Your sellotape dispenser, again, you don't want to catch your balloon on that. Anything you can catch a balloon on, you know, try to keep out of the way. Now when you buy your pack of balloons, obviously they'll come like this. They come really flat, and you know, you think, gosh, how are you going to get that to anything? So they come like this, and then eventually when you've worked your balloon, which I'll show you in a minute, it will be like this. I'm sorry about the light, the sun keeps coming in and out. So also to help tie off your balloon, I just cut one of the long balloons in half. You don't need a full one. Everyone shows you using a full one. I don't feel you need a full one. It's a waste when you can use, you know, one balloon twice. So I'll show you obviously how to do that as well in as much detail as possible. I'm just going to pause for a second until I get everything ready and sorted, and then I will be back with you. Right, so now I'm going to show you how to work this balloon. You look like you're being vicious and you think it's going to snap, but actually it's, you know, it's got a lot of give in it and it needs to be stretched. If it doesn't stretch, your balloon won't inflate properly, it'll inflate uneven, so the seam that runs along the middle won't be in the middle, it sometimes pops the opposite way. So if you don't do this, you could run the risk of your balloon just inflating the wrong way and then deflating quite easily. So all this I do now is just take this and stretch it. It's good if you've had a stressful day and you feel like you need a workout, and then pull the neck of it this way, just to work that out. Then along this seam here, again, just keep stretching and keep stretching. You probably do this, it'll take a good sort of 5 minutes. So keep stretching. You'll see how it's starting to sort of come out of shape, even though it's in shape around there. Again, just pull it. If you've got nails, sometimes your nails can get in the way, so you might want to just trim them down. My nails, I end up snapping all the time. Can't wear acrylics, don't like them, can't do anything in them. So that's the edges of your balloon done. Now I'm just going to try and work the middle, so I'm just going to fold it and pull from the middle to the outer. Again, just keep pulling. Pretend it's someone you don't like, always helps. That's it. Keep pulling. Now your balloon should start looking a little bit sort of creased and out of shape again. So what I'm going to do now, just to inflate, this is where you need this pump first. If you go straight in with the electric, it could inflate wrong. This end can be a bit tricky to open sometimes. So just going to pop this in here, get a bit of air so I can just check it. And you'll see when it starts inflating, you'll see that's inflating quite round and even. And you'll see that line is running all the way around. Sorry about that, I had to pause for a second, husband just come in. So you'll see that at the moment you've got the creases that are running along that line. When you inflate it next, once you let that down, you'll see that this is more of a normal shape now. When you inflate it with the electric, make sure that that line runs clear and all of them little folds will actually come out. So just take my time with this now. that line is running true all around the middle. I'm going to inflate this a bit more before I add the rose. Your balloons will actually go a lot bigger than what you think. Again, now if you can see, that's slightly gone into an oval, so I need to let a little bit of the air out of that. Just make sure it's shaped right, and that's around again. So just make sure, holding that. I'll remove that out of the way and then I'll show you. So I'm going to let that back down. If you come to inflate and your balloon's inflating funny, just literally go back along. You'll notice once it's been blown up it softens, and the more you work it the more it softens. Just go back along the edges like this and just re-stretch that seam. You just keep working it. Now the hardest part is going to be getting, obviously, your rose inside. Now I've only got the small neck balloons at the moment. You can actually buy the wider necked balloons. I've managed to buy the bigger balloons, but not managed to find a wider neck. The only time I found the wider neck ones is when I buy them in a set. eBay do a set for, I think it's about £6 or £7, and you have the balloon, the lights, all of the tool that you need to make the surrounding, the pole and everything, and they have a wider neck on the balloon to fit the roses in. However, I have managed to work out how to still fit a rose into this. It's not the easiest, but I will show you so that you're aware of how to do this. So just give me a second and I'll grab my rose and I'll be straight back. Right, so this rose is about 29 centimeters long, which is, I'm not sure what that is in inches, so about 11 inches in height. And the thing, we're going to put this in the balloon, but obviously we're going to need part of this stem, but I'll show you that as I go along. So what I do now, which is not an easy way, I'm going to move this coffee in case I knock it everywhere. I don't fancy that going all over my computer. So open that neck. Now this neck is on an angle and it has a seam on this side, so just be careful that you don't rip that seam, because once you rip that seam you've had it, your balloon's leaking and you're done. So what I do is I will fold over to where that actually opens up, make a small opening, then I will fold it again so I don't run the risk of splitting that seam, so that basically that is the neck of your balloon. Now you do have to have a bit of strength to do this, so you're going to put your fingers, both fingers inside, and give it a real good stretch. Now you can get quite a bit of give in there, and I know it looks hard, but once you get used to doing it, then with this hand I normally just grab my rose, pull it at the same time, put my finger over my rose and literally push that in. I find that is the much easier way of getting these roses in. People try pushing them up through the long nozzle of the balloon. I've seen bits fall off, I've seen them end up, you know, out of shape, and it's not the best way to go forward, and then they end up losing the leaves and everything. So whilst your neck is still obviously quite wide on that, just literally push the rest of your balloon down over and just pop them leaves into this. I've watched so many different tutorials on how to do these balloons, and there are so many different ways that people do them, and confusing ways as well, and ways that I've done them and then a day later the balloon is completely gone down by just doing it how some people have done it. So I find that this way is much better. So make sure, like I've said, can't stress enough, you really have stretched that balloon. Now if you look, I've not split that seam, I've managed to, it's got just a tiny nib there, which is completely fine. Now when you come to put this up, you'll see that that stem is hanging out of here. So basically all as I do now is I'm going to go to my balloon pump, then I'm going to just pop that at the side there, and actually I've forgotten to put in my rose petals. Let me just again show you how to do them. I do apologise. Let's just pop them in. So again, best thing I find, just literally grab a load, fold them over and just pop them down into the balloon. Again, you want a good amount because you don't want to see the base of your balloon and you know, your stem and everything. You don't have to put these in. You can put, if you chose to, you could put some crystals into this. You could pop in some organza inside of the balloon with the rose. Now it looks quite messy at the moment, but they will move around to where you want them. So let's come back to this, and I'm just going to, I just hold it over. Now I've actually got a balloon end here that I cut off another balloon. I always save the ends because they're good to use. So while you're inflating, sometimes, let me just turn it. Sometimes what you're better off doing is just pop in, so that's sort of, you've got another hand, pop that over there, and then it gives you the chance to hold this in place. So you're going to hold this around like this, and on your other pump just now. That's quite a good size. I've still got hold of my rose. I'm going to actually now let that rose go into the balloon. I'm actually just going to put a tiny bit more air in that. It's not got, well, quite a lot of air in it now. What I've done now is I'm going to let go of that, then I'm going to pull and pull, right, this here, the neck on it, keep twisting and pulling until you feel confident enough to tie it off. Can take a bit. Gosh, that coffee is a mess of me being falling off again. I'm going to just let a tiny bit of air out. Don't be afraid to let air out if you need to. Always make sure where that seam ends there, you need to tie above there. Right. Again, twist and pull. That through there. And that should be, you should now just have a little bit sticking up like this. Now obviously your rose is in your balloon, you need to bring the stem down, so just keep working it until you will get there eventually. So your rose is the other way around. Right, so got it the right way around there. Right, so that's near to this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull that, and you'll see that the rose will naturally fall into that hole. So I'm just going to grip the end of that, pull it, and I'm just going to twist. I'm going to keep twisting till it's nice and tight and where I want it. Then with this slim balloon, which is what I said to you about, if you just pop it just on your hand there, right, and you're just going to go, put it there, above your thumb, holding the other end, and you're just going to keep twisting that around where you have secured your rose. Then the other end of it, just twist that around as well, just so it's doubly secured, but you've got enough end to tie off. And come back to both ends and tie them off. So now you've got this, you've got this, I'm going to double knot that, so this is now what you should have. Okay, so this is where you're up to. You can see the difference of just having them rose petals in there. I'm just going to pause a minute, have my coffee, and I'll be back in a sec. Right, so you've got your balloon like this. So I'm just going to take the end of this off. I find these cup balloon holders are much better. Now you can go down the middle of the stem with this, but I find if you do that, when you add your pole in, then you can catch the plastic with your pole and you can end up with an air hole leak. If you're just going to use this to put your, to put it on so that you can just build your box around it. So if you were just using this to go in your box, let me just show you. You just pop that down the middle. It's gone dark in here again now, blimey. Just going to grab some tweezers, but I need some that are not sharp. So just pop that in, pardon me, the middle tube, like that. Grab the inside and just pull it through. So that's how it will be. So that you can then pull this right through into your holder. I'm going to show you this way for a minute. Then what I would do is just pull that around, go under that little nodule there, bring that around, and then I would tape that in place. Then this extra little bit here that you've got, I'm just going to, you can either tape that in place or you can secure it with, this is just an end of a balloon, with a band. So I just basically put that around there because I don't want to pull that too far because I don't want the rose piercing through. I'll show you how we're going to set this one into the box first so you know what we're doing and how it's going to be. As you can see, because I've put that through there, that's just holding everything in place. So I'm just going to tie this bit around, around again, just to make sure that that is completely secure. So that's what you're left with. Excuse me. Hay fever's playing up a bit today. So there's your rose. Then obviously you've got your line that runs through the middle. I like to make sure that that line is obviously not showing this way at the front, but the seam is at the side. So the seam would then go at the side there, like this. So that would be how that were to sit, if you can just see that there. Now if you didn't want to put anything else on this, you can just get your ribbon, tie it around and finish it that way. So I will just grab some ribbon to show you. Let's see what colour. Let's go for the pink. So obviously you would measure out your ribbon. I normally would go around this like, so it's like about twice. Cut that off. And I'd get rid of that for a minute. Bring this to halfway. Turn my box upside down. That's my middle there. So just to make life easier, we've got this on ready. Just pop a bit of tape, or you can, you know, glue this down if you feel better for gluing it. Oh, let's just move. Just tape it so that that's in place. And obviously bring that up, and then that's going to be your ties for your balloon. So if you're not adding anything in, you can stuff some paper into there if you want to. Again, you don't have to, but I prefer to. So I've got, put that side a minute on that, 2 of these. So I'm literally going to do them so that you fold them slightly off, so they're folded like this. And you do this with both of these. Take it there. And again, that one. Then, just to give it a little bit of depth, I would hold this. I find if you fold this so you know that this is your middle, then pop this bit, let me just angle you down slightly. Right, pop this bit to the middle, and then just literally do this. Now you can add an elastic band into this if you wanted to, or you can tape it. So I'm going to just tape this one. Just keep it in place. Right, so that's one side done. I haven't done it tight, so if I want to take it off I can take it off, but that's your first half. Then when I do the same again, I've folded that in half again so that it does the same thing. Then obviously on this side, go to the middle, and again just cup it around. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just enough that it just goes around. And you'll see it'll be like this. Again, you can use an elastic band or you can tape it. I don't want to use too much tape because, you know, there's a lot of plastic in the world. We're using enough here already. So that actually isn't on tight. You can actually just lift that off. So if you choose to, you know, to change your mind, you can make it tighter if you want to. So then all this I would do is take my box, which I've already added my ribbon to make life easier. Place that on to the box. Now I like to make sure that this ribbon is in the middle of this fold. That's just because I'm very OCD, and over the seam. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tie this off. Sort them sides in a minute. I'm going to pull it quite tight so it secures that balloon into place. You can tie a knot before tying a ribbon if you prefer to. I don't need to, just because I think I've just had a lot of practice. So this is where we're up to. I keep getting pop-ups on my phone and it keeps stopping my phone. So this is the middle, obviously. That's a bit of a shame. I'm going to tidy this up just to make it tidy. Now, I don't know if anyone's said to you, I hate it when my ribbon's fray. So all as I do is just get a lighter, literally hold it just away from the edge and just seal that ribbon. If you can just see, just enough that it just seals it. Then just go back around your balloon and tidy up anything you want to do. So if you want to, you might want to bend this material down. Just to make it a bit tidier. And that's basically your box. So I'm just going to show you how to add in them lights. So I'm not even going to undo that because I know that that's the size I need. So I'm going to just slide that down. Right. Now this is why I did this like this, so I can come back and show you. Ta-da! Take that off. Pop that over there. And then you're back with this again. Now I've got these pink lights for this one, so let's give these a go. I've had a friend who has been through a lot, so I'm going to gift this this balloon to her, I think. So you can buy these lights from eBay, Amazon. They're just micro SD lights. These are just with a small battery pack on. They can be a bit of a pain to open up. It's just how they, sometimes they open brilliant and other times they just don't. I'm just going to pause for a minute. Right, I'm back. So if you're doing the lights for the box, what I would do is make sure obviously you've got enough to stick the lights onto your box. So, you know, start from about there. So what I would do now is find the end of my lights, and I want to go where the seam is. Just going to come all the way through there. Just keep pulling that down out of your way. Make sure your light stays straight. Oh dear. Right, so that's your first. Then I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning, and I'm going to bring that back under to secure it. So at the moment this is flopping about. Bring it back, so you're looping it back on itself to secure it around the plastic. Right, so you'll see what I mean in a second. So if you look there, that is on there, ready to go along that crease. So that's quite secure now. So even if I pull that, just pull that line like that. Now that is tight. So I'm just going to pull along the seam, go all the way across. You don't need to glue anything in place. If you have a cool heat glue gun, you can temporarily catch these into place if you choose to. Now we're down to this second side, so I'm going to do the same again now on this side. I'm just going to hold that with my arm, take this end, run under the plastic holder, pull through. Really hard to show you on the video. Right, so I've pulled back through now on itself, and I'm going to actually pull that taut. Don't pull it too much because you don't want it to snap. You want it enough that it's properly along that seam. Right, hold that in place, and again bring it up back on itself. I need to use some grip tweezers to grab the end, do so. Pull that all the way back through on itself. Now these wires, if you choose to want them smaller and you only want, say, one lot around this, you can actually cut them and they still work. So again, just securing that so it's tight, and I'm just going to go around here again, just to make sure that is securely in place. Then to do your next over, I'm just going to come across to this one. I'm going to go under because I want the wire close to the balloon, and pull through, and then you're going to use this as your guide. So you're going to come back on yourself, pull through again just to secure it. that isn't moving anywhere by the looks of it. Just double check, yep. So just, oh, excuse me, gonna bring this through again. So again, that's secure, it's got an anchor there to pull on, so that's going to stay in place. Now this has come slightly loose, so what I'm going to do is just come back across to this one and just basically, I'm just going to twist it, because there's no point in undoing the full thing again just for that tiny bit of wire. So I've just twisted that again. Now just pull this taut. That through there just to secure that tiny bit more. Right, oh, excuse me. Right, so back to this side. So now we're going to go round. If you need to adjust your wire as you go around, just adjust it. It might move slightly. Go across the middle like this, and then back over to this side. Now this one's a little bit short, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it a little bit tighter. If you use the other lights for these, they're a lot longer. I've bought lights that are shorter. These are only got 20 on them, I think. But what you would do, I don't want to undo all of this again, is just work this down, and you tie it around the bottom here. Now, as I've just said to you, I have not got enough wire on that little bit, so I'm gonna actually cheat, because nobody's going to see this end. So if you do get to this point where I am and you think, oops, what have I done? Just grab yourself a little bit of ribbon, it's not a problem. Go just in between them wires. It's not an issue. We're crafters, this is what we do, we improvise, it happens to the best of us. Tie that, and then obviously tie it again. Right, that's given me that secureness there. So I'll leave that on for a minute. Come all the way back over. So pulling it tight to make sure that it's not gonna keep moving. Pull it tight. I'm gonna come to here. Then obviously we can't use the wire here, so we're gonna use the ribbon. Again, that that's all in place. I've left that little bit there so I can tie it to. Don't need all that to work with. So do a secure tie. Make sure it's tight. Maybe a little bit too tight, am I right? Just knot that. Make sure it's not going to move around. Tie it to the cross section. You're not going to see this bit because it's going to be covered with the rose petals anyway. So then we're just going to snip them bits off. And that's where we are right now. Just with the lights on and ready. Now I'm going to pop that back. I want to add on this rather than one of these, which is fine if that's what we like. I think I'm going to actually add a bit of a tulle, but saying that, let me have a look at this. It's going to go there. So that's going to go there, which means that that's the front. I'm going to actually just take the tape off these because I'm going to use these, but I'm actually going to use less of them. I'm going to halve them because I don't want loads and loads of paper around the balloon. So be careful enough, you get to be able to redo these. Again, I'm just improvising while I'm here, you know, as you do. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to cut these in half. Let's do it like this. So we'll go with this. So I've got 2 of them. Then I've got, I'll fold it again. I want basically 4 squares. I'm going to cut that again. Right, so let's go back to this. We've just got a little bit underneath and not too much. So I'm just going to do the same with these again, fold them so they're slightly across on themselves. I'm just going to fold them and come back to you. Right, okay, so I've just basically just got smaller ones now to work with, and I'm just going to go around. I've got a clear elastic band here because I don't really want to use masses. I just want to use enough just to cover up that bottom. I've got a clear band and I'm literally just going to see if I can secure that. With that. So it's just got that tiny bit there at the bottom, just covering. I'm just going to see, just check as you go along. Right. And I think that's enough actually. I don't think it needs. No, I don't think it needs anything more on it. So what I'm going to do now because obviously that's coming up there. So I'm just going to make sure that that stays in place. Just have a tiny bit of tape just to pop it there. Then I need some of this double-sided tape. This is like the foamy kind of tape. I'll pop this on the back of my battery pack. Then I'm just going to pop open this side of the box just so I can thread this battery pack through it without obviously damaging anything. Right, so that's there. In fact, I don't even need that open. That's okay. Let's put some more too. Right, your sticky is just there. So I just want to pop that under there, just so as you can get to turn the lights on and off. Then once that's in place, now we know that's the back, we can just move this around a tiny bit so we get it where we want it. Then we know that when we tied this before that it was the right size. So I'm just going to go across here. So I've just done that ribbon. I've just added, I tied that one into a knot at the top in the middle, and I've just added another ribbon to the top. That's up to you. So this is now where we're up to, as you can see. And then obviously I want to add a ribbon to the to this, but I'm going to actually add like an organza. It's, well, it's not organza, it's like a tutu tulle, just to add something a bit nicer to the front there. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just so I've got enough to tie into a bow as well. Just loop that around there, through there. Push it up along the back. Or you can still get to that light switch between there, see? And literally turn this. Oh, I lost my hand. Into a bow. Then just trim your ribbon down, so obviously it's straight. Don't wonky with the ribbon, so it's just not nice. And there is your rose balloon. Now that's just pushing over slightly, so I'm just going to go in, literally push her over. That's better. Put this back along the seal. If once you've put everything together and your lights come slightly loose, all as I would do is literally, if there's enough give in them, just get them and twist it slightly, but that should be fine, to be honest. Shouldn't need to. The lights are what are the pain, because they do work loose after so long. Once the balloon starts going down. So I hope this has helped, and I hope it hasn't been too long a video. It's not a quick tutorial to do, as you've seen, but that's where we're at with the rose balloon in a box. The only difference between the box rose balloon and the one in the stand really is obviously you would tie your stem of your rose balloon at the side of the holder and then push the rod into it, and then you can work with the lights in the same sort of way. I will do a tutorial on that again. So thank you, and I hope this helped.